That fine fella next to me is Adam Scher. Another fine fella, Alex Baker, Awesome-O himself, had a monster weekend, man. Congratulations. Is that the biggest weekend you've had this season? It has to be.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a pretty lucky weekend. I just kept waiting for the winnings to go down to something like something more reasonable, but it just never happened. And I lucked out.
And no, it didn't. It definitely didn't. What's going on, Adam? How'd the first pitch go?
It went pretty well. Not bad for 6 or 7 beers beforehand, and not having thrown a baseball in 6 years. I can't complain.
They did you dirty on the Twitter handle, though.
Yeah, I mean, notice they didn't show that guy's actual first pitch, though, because it was kind of embarrassing.
They should have shown him in the windup and then cut to just the ball and have it be your first pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been great. That would have been even more insulting, though.
Right.
Stealing your property. But anyway, we've got 11 games today. We're back from the weekend, and let's just jump into it. A little housekeeping note, an important one at that. Live before lock today with Josh. Josh, is it Spags too?
Me and Jake.
Josh and Jake. Josh Ingham and Jake Harry is going to be coming up directly after the deeper dive. Now, it usually comes up directly after the deeper dive, but this time it's going to be on the exact same page, so you don't have to go anywhere. All you do is sit there and wait, and Josh's fine face will pop up and say hi. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing, and that's how it's going to work today and going forward, actually, for at least a little while. So stick around after the show. Literally stick around after the show. Live Before Lock will follow us and take you up till 7:05. All right, boys, let's jump into it. We've got Pittsburgh. We've got St. Louis. Actually, first, Adam, weather concerns here. Not this game specifically, but a lot of storms across the Northeast. Fortunately, it doesn't look like we have many games in the Northeast, but still throw the question at you to get cleared up.
Yeah, I think the only real weather concern is the Washington game. I know Alex just tweeted about it that right now everything looks okay, but there's a good chance that stuff starts to pop up closer to game time. And we obviously have the added element of the Nationals continuously messing around during games where they can delay for no reason. So it's probably going to be a mess. It's probably not going to be fun to deal with, but that's, I think, the only game we really have to keep an eye on.
Does that concern you, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's going to be kind of a judgment call in about an hour. Maybe we can circle back at the end of the show and discuss it again. But there's kind of like a narrow band of storms of moderate intensity kind of approaching the area. And it will be kind of luck-based whether it hits the arena or not. So that'll be a good way you can get an edge on this slate, because I know there's a lot of uncertainty around this game, and if you figure it out the right way, then maybe people will either play it when it gets postponed or they won't play it, and this is a game with some good offenses.
And I know you just 4 minutes ago updated the projections on awesome.com. You have this game with a 15% postponement risk, but it's also not factoring in how big of assholes they are in Washington, D.C., right?
Well,
I don't think that's in your model.
I factor it in. I mean, it's more of a subjective model,
Sure.
But the thing is, they need rain to be able to make that dick move, and there might not be any. So if there's no rain, they can't cancel the game.
They have done that, though.
Yeah,
They have, but it's always been like the rain. It's supposed to rain like a couple hours or something.
Yeah.
And then they delay the game. This time, I don't really think that there's going to be a looming weather threat. It's either going to hit the stadium or it won't.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they actually did it in that Phillies game like a month ago, where there were sunny skies till the sun went down, and then it never rained. And then it did rain at like 11 o'clock. So good work to the weather crew. All right, Adam, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Ponce de Leon, Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams looking like he's going to get some ownership. He's been pretty disgustingly bad, actually, since returning from the injured list. Pretty average strikeout stuff against righties. In a game like this, though, and you see this a lot, especially with Carpenter on the injured list, you're going to get, a fair amount of righties in the lineup. Today you have 1, 2, 3, you have 5 of them, and then 4 lefties. We've seen this a lot. But Ozuna and Carpenter both on the IL. Molina on the IL as well. This is a super watered down lineup, basically the same thing we've seen over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I hate rostering Trevor Williams when he's popular. I hate rostering him when he's not popular. But this is a slate where, especially on DraftKings, I don't really see a way around it. In my initial crunch, I got around 20%. It's a watered-down Cardinals lineup, like you said, with no Carpenter, Molina, or Ozuna available. Still not a ton of strikeouts in the lineup. Williams not a great strikeout pitcher, but it is a favorable ballpark. We don't have all the heat humidity that we had over the weekend. That's mostly gone, so that's not as concerning. And the mid-range on this slate where you need 2 pitchers is pretty dead. So getting to Trevor Williams just kind of naturally because there's not a whole lot else around them.
What are your thoughts on Trevor Williams, Alex?
Well, I think there is one really cheap pitcher that's going to draw a ton of ownership away from Williams, which is Sean Anderson. I think he's almost in as good a spot, but he's 2,000 less on DraftKings. I suppose on FanDuel, Williams is cheaper than Anderson. So I think Williams might be more plays like the punt pitcher on FanDuel. But overall in the year, 18% strikeouts. And then the strikeout matchup is a little bit above average with the nice Cardinals lineup. So you're getting a pretty low projection anyway, you cut it just because this guy's Ks aren't really up to snuff.
Do you have any interest? I don't know why I'm asking this, but I'll do it anyway. In Ponce de Leon?
I mean, I haven't projected to do almost as good as Trevor Williams, but he's way more expensive on DraftKings, so I would rule him out on DraftKings. On FanDuel and Yahoo, I mean, you probably won't get there either just because it's already kind of a low tier spot, and you don't really need to dip that low in salary.
Yeah, Adam, I'm assuming you're the same thought.
Yeah, exactly the same. More favorably priced on FanDuel and Yahoo, but obviously you only roster 1 pitcher on FanDuel, so you don't really need it. Yahoo, you still have some more favorable pricing on pitching with guys like Robbie Ray at a significant discount compared to DraftKings. So I don't think that Ponce de Leon from a roster construction standpoint is as useful, and I'm not paying $9K for this guy against the Pirates on DraftKings.
What about hitters?
I don't have a ton of interest. It's not a good hitter's park. Not that there are a lot of great hitter spots on the slate from a weather or ballpark standpoint, but Ponce de Leon, really hasn't been bad at limiting power. I think Josh Bell stands out because his price tag's fallen, but outside of that, there's just not really a whole lot here for me.
Yeah, are you into any bats here in this PNC game, Alex?
Yeah, I think that the Cardinals lineup is a great value on all 3 sites. The ownership looks like it's the best on DraftKings, so I can see myself winding up there. On the other side, I think that Pittsburgh, it could be like kind of a contrarian, like deep sleeper, but you're not getting much of an edge in ownership or in projection.
Okay, let's move on then to some of the better games. We obviously have the concerns. We have the risk of weather here, possible postponement in Washington, D.C. But it is a pretty appealing game, Alex. Before we get to the bats, I'll just throw it out there. Any interest in Eric Fetty, who, you have Ivan Nova, you've got Sean Anderson, you got a ton of pitchers, oddly enough, below 5K on DraftKings today, 6 of them to be exact. Fetty not getting any ownership, but he's equally as bad as basically Nova and Anderson. So do you have any interest there, or is this all bats for you? And obviously the weather's a concern, but let's assume that the weather's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I think Fetty is kind of fringe playable on DraftKings. On FanDuel and Yahoo, he's not really in play, but it's 4,500 is a pretty decent price, and he's got a decent chance of picking up the win with the Nationals being minus 150 favorites, so that's worth a few points, and maybe he'll get like 3 strikeouts if he does. doesn't allow too many runs. Like maybe you have it yourself, a decent performance.
Yeah, lowest K rate on the slate, and that's saying a lot. But Nova and Anderson are not far behind him at all. So there is that, Alex or Adam.
Yeah, I mean he's 4,500. I'm still not really getting to any. I am getting the bats from this game. I expect that. I mean, we've already talked about the weather here being a huge factor, but I expect that if the weather does cooperate, the Nats will be one of my highest owned stacks, and the Rockies will be up there as well. Fetty just not a particularly good pitcher, and then we know that the Nats bullpen behind them is really bad. So if the Rockies can get to him early, it's a big upside spot for them. They're also running out on a pretty appealing lineup. Once you get towards the bottom, you definitely get some flawed hitters, but McMahon and Tapia have more potential, at least, I think, than guys like Desmond and some of the other guys that they run out there, Garrett Hampson, et cetera. So probably the best lineup that Colorado could run out there from an upside standpoint as well.
Okay. Who are your favorite bats from this game? Let's talk about Washington first.
From the Washington side, Lambert's been particularly bad against left-handed hitters. He isn't striking out anyone, but he has done a good job so far of limiting expected production against righties. He's gotten blown up by lefties, though. So Juan Soto and Matt Adams stand out from the Washington side. From the Colorado side, Nolan Arenado at 4,400 on DraftKings is totally mispriced. But 1 through 4, I think all are good plays.
Okay. How much interest do you have in this game at batters as a whole, Alex? I'm assuming a lot, right?
Yeah, I think Washington's looking like a really good play on all three sites, but it's going to really hinge on the weather. I think, because if people are pretty negative about the weather, I think it'll drive ownership away, and they could become a really nice play. But if the ownership stands in the mid-teens like we have it now, then I think it might be a little bit overrated.
Okay, yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, the totals in this one are very high. Washington with the second highest total on the slate. Alex, where do you rank Washington in terms of your top stacks today, assuming weather cooperates?
Yeah, I don't have that up right now, but 6.1 team total. Let's see. As you said, that's the second highest on the slate. The Yankees being on the road, 6.3 team total. It's a little bit of a boost being on the road and a higher total. So I think they're probably the team to beat, but the ownership is so high on Washington that it makes me a little bit less positive on them. What
about you, Adam?
Yeah, I think that, and Alex mentioned it, the weather will have a big impact on the ownership, one way or the other. With it being an 11-game slate, I'm still going to get to Washington. They're still going to be one of my highest owned stacks if the weather cooperates, because I just don't expect the full stack to be that popular. And I think it is one of the best spots.
Okay. Let's talk about Toronto and Cleveland then. Adam, Mike Clevenger. We've got Ryan Barucki on the mound. Excuse me. I can't help but I honestly can't help but keep coming back to Clevenger with the ownership being a factor here. You have Garrett Cole, of course. You have Robbie Ray, both of whom are sandwiching Clevenger. And right now you've got him projected ownership at 8% on DraftKings compared to Garrett Cole at 28, Robbie Ray at 27. On FanDuel, Clevenger at 8%, Garrett Cole at 19, and Ray is, I would assume, the highest at 24. And then lastly, on DraftKings or Yahoo, you got Garrett Cole at 41, Robbie Ray at 54, and Clevenger at 18. So there's a big difference there. He's not a qualified pitcher, but if you just took his numbers from this season, he'd lead the slate in K rate, swinging strike rate, called plus swinging strike rate. And he's facing a Toronto team that will strike out. So curious to get your thoughts on Clevenger. He is expensive, but he's also going widely overlooked compared to these other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think that from the ownership standpoint, like you said, you can certainly make an argument for it in tournaments. The upside's clearly there. But at the same time, it's just tough for me because as good as he is, Garrett Cole really has been the best starting pitcher in baseball so far this year. His strikeout percentage among qualified starters is like 2 points higher than anyone else. His xFIP is like a third of a run lower than anyone else. And on DraftKings, Clevenger is like the same price point. So I know the matchup's more favorable for Clevenger than it is for Cole, but I just don't think that Clevenger's quite as good. And I think that with there being 22 offenses to choose from, it's not going to be that hard to get lower owned lineup. So I am getting the Clevenger. I do have him projected as my second highest scoring pitcher, but the price tag on DraftKings in particular is enough to still keep his ownership down for me.
Fair enough. The one thing I like about him is that from a ceiling standpoint, he does have a really high ceiling. I mean, he's had a couple rough games, but he's got 33 plus DraftKings points in 4 of his first 7 starts. Like, when this guy has big games, he has big games, which I think it should at least be considered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. It's the kind of play where, from a max entry standpoint, I just expect that I'll have more exposure to Cole than Clevenger because I have him graded out a little bit better. But if I were, for some reason, playing, a couple of lineups in a large field, basically like winner take all tournament, like the $9 on DraftKings, that's certainly a spot where if you like popular bats, you can just make a pivot from like Cole to Clevenger, and that you're being contrarian right there, and you're not really losing upside.
Sure. What about your thoughts on pitching here, specifically Clevenger, Alex?
I think he's definitely in play more on Yahoo and FanDuel than DraftKings, where he's kind of like priced to the skies. He's been a pretty good pitcher for the past few years, but not in the same company as Cole or Sale or whatnot. And I expect his strikeouts will level out around like 30% as opposed to like 40% that we've seen so far this year. So with that in mind, I think he's a little bit overpriced. The matchup versus Toronto, they're slightly better in average lineup, and also he's on the road, which is kind of a small downgrade compared to Cole, who's at home versus a team that's a little bit better. So I think given the price being the same between him and Cole, I agree with Adam that I favor Cole. But as a contrarian play, I mean, there's a lot of merit to that if he's going to have single-digit ownership.
Right. Yeah, and that's what popped out to me. Earlier today, he was at like 5%, but it's still pretty low. Do you like Cleveland here against Ryan Baroque?
Yeah, I mean, they're always my favorite stack, and today it's no exception. I mean, 5.6 team total on the road. I mean, Baroque is a below average pitcher. And the prices are reasonable, especially on a few different players. On DraftKings, Lindor and Ramirez seem to always be underpriced, and today they're probably cash plays. On FanDuel, the underpriced play is Jordan Luplow at $2,800. On Yahoo, they're all kind of more reasonably priced, though.
What about you, Adam? You like Cleveland or no?
Yeah, I usually don't like them all that much, but they're very affordably priced. Ryan Baroque's not particularly good. The Indians have one of the lowest strikeout percentages as an offense against left-handed pitching, and so that's appealing as well. But what really just stands out is that you're getting really good value on Francisco Lindor. You're getting really good value on Ramirez, Jordan Luplow. Roberto Perez is hitting for more power this year from the catcher spot. So I am getting the Cleveland as like a top 5 stack for me.
Okay. Any Toronto interest? My assumption would be no.
I was actually getting a pretty decent amount because of their price tags and just how much power they have. Obviously, I think it's a low probability spot, but I don't think they'll have a lot of ownership. And I don't want to overlook how much just raw power there is from Gurriel, Biggio, Guerrero, Smoke, Grichuk, Jansen as a really cheap catcher option. So I am getting to Toronto in tournaments.
Are you getting any Toronto, Alex?
There are a couple of guys on Yahoo like Guerrero at $9. I mean, any guy that has home run derby power, sign me up.
Okay. Tampa Bay and Boston. I'll stay with you, Alex. We've got Eduardo Rodriguez, Jalen Beeks. Erod going up against Tampa is not cheap. He's 10-9 on DraftKings, which is quite a hefty price point. 8K on FanDuel is definitely a bit more palatable, but there's also several nicely priced pitchers. And then 46 on Yahoo is the third highest priced guy. What are you doing about Eduardo Rodriguez here, if anything?
I think you kind of nailed it on the head. It's site specific based on the price on FanDuel. He's plus value, but on DraftKings and Yahoo, he's minus value. So the ownership being low on all three sites, I think I might end up with some of him on FanDuel.
Are you going to get any of him on FanDuel, Adam?
That's where I would want to roster him at 8K. DraftKings, I'm not interested.
What about hitters, Adam?
I think that Boston is kind of interesting in tournaments. I'm not getting to a lot right now. I think that I'd probably get to more if we have issues with the weather in the Nats game. But I don't feel comfortable with how little I'm getting because it's not a good park. It's a decent pitcher in Jalen Beeks, but it's certainly not an ace. And we know how much talent there is in this Boston lineup. So with them probably not getting a whole lot of ownership because of a 4.5 implied run total, I do think that they're an appealing tournament stack. But as of right now, I guess I'm just not really getting there all that much outside of JD on DraftKings at 4,100.
All right. I was pretty much the same way here. Alex, are you getting the Boston bats? Or you know what? We can talk about Tampa Bay bats too. Go to both of these teams.
Yeah, I think JD, as you guys mentioned, pretty good play, especially on DraftKings and Yahoo, where he's underpriced. Overall, as a team, I think Tampa Bay is priced a little bit better, but still kind of a negative as far as value. And the ownership doesn't look like it compensates for that enough, so I probably won't be going to either of these teams, really.
So this game for you really doesn't do much outside of maybe Erod on FanDuel.
I think the Boston stack is kind of like a contrarian one, so it's kind of nice, but not the greatest park being indoors for stacks.
All right. Adam, what about Miami and the White Sox? Ivan Nova, I think it makes sense that we're going to see some ownership on him just because of how cheap he is and really more so how bad the Miami Marlins are. Right now, 17% ownership on DraftKings. Really, you're not playing him anywhere else. At least I wouldn't advise it. Let's start with him, and then we'll talk about Trevor Richards against the White Sox in a high strikeout potential matchup. But, Nova here against the Miami team that's bottom 2 in WOBA, ISO, WRC plus against righties, and top 5 in strikeouts too.
Yeah, so I mean, I was really interested to see how my crunches turned out when I did the show this morning because on one hand, I thought Miami was interesting going with a positive park shift, against a pitcher in Nova that's been terrible. On the other hand, you have a near minimum priced pitcher facing the Marlins. So I was interested to see how it turned out. Right now, I'm getting a lot more Miami bats than I am Ivan Nova. And I think the reasoning is just, you mentioned the ownership on him. It's pretty unlikely that he goes out there and gives you the kind of game from a raw point standpoint that you have to have. It's more likely that he just gives you a serviceable, point per dollar outing. And I don't mind fading guys like that when they're higher, relatively high owned. And Miami does have a 4.7 implied run total here. They do have a bad lineup, but they do have some guys that can do damage, like Brian Anderson, Garrett Cooper in there. They're running out probably the best lineup they could. And so I'm actually just getting to more of them than I am Nova. One thing that stood out about Nova was that in the past, he has been pretty decent against righties and just really bad against lefties. But this year, he's just been bad against everyone across the board. Righties have hit him for power. Righties have been very productive against him as well. So he hasn't really shown those splits that he did in the past.
Alex, where's your AR-15?
I'm just going to smile and nod at that one. But
you don't know what I mean, do you? You look like you're going to a shooting range. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I got these gunner glasses. They're so you don't get like headaches when you look at the computer screen. But
do they work?
They do, yeah. I'm glad we're getting some spawn con in here so people don't lose interest. But also, I should try using them for shooting.
What? Try it for sure. What are your thoughts here? But Nova and Trevor Richards.
I think that Nova is only on play on DraftKings, but he's so cheap that maybe he's in play, even though his projection is kind of pathetic. I mean, you can't really project this guy for many strikeouts, and the opposing team was a 5.2 team total, so not really super keen on it. Richards, on the other hand, I'm a little bit higher on. He's a guy that gets 21% strikeouts. The strikeout matchup is plus. And he's especially well priced on FanDuel, so I think I could see myself going there as a punt. But really, the bats are the stars of the show here.
And the bats for you are?
I think both teams are really well priced on all three sites. The ownership's quite a bit lower on Chicago, so I prefer them. The Miami team looks like the ownership is just insanely high, like especially on FanDuel. So that might be one where I fade a bad team, and that has a pretty high potential of working out.
Adam, let's talk about the hitters here as well. You mentioned some from the Marlins side, but more so how it affects Nova. Both teams coming into this game have, well, given their relative skill sets, have pretty decent implied totals, being that neither of them are great teams. Like Miami has a total above 5. Very, very seldom do you see something like that. And then the White Sox are at 4.9. I actually think it's up to 5 right now. What do you make of this matchup?
Yes, I mean, I agree with Alex. Like where they're going to be popular, I really hate rostering them just because they're really bad. But the pricing is very affordable. I did just update a crunch based on our newest ownership projections, and I got a lot less Miami than I did using our ownership projections from earlier in the day. So I'm assuming Miami went up during that change. I'm still getting there, though, just because of the pricing. I do agree that the White Sox are in a decent spot, too. Trevor Richards is an okay pitcher, but it is a negative park shift for him. He has struggled more with lefties than righties. Yohan Moncada stands out for that reason. Yolmer Sanchez gives you a decent value option that probably won't have much ownership because he's batting 8th. But neither offense is one that you're going to be really comfortable with.
All right. I guess we can keep moving then. Alex, is there anything else you want to touch on with this game?
I think cash plays maybe. Neil Walker batting second is just a lock on all three sites. Being pretty much close to the minimum salary on FanDuel and Yahoo and cheap on DraftKings. Jose Abreu is a really strong value. And on FanDuel, I mean, you could just pick any 4 of these guys for your cash lineup pretty much, and you'd be pretty set to go. And Curtis Granderson on Yahoo, 25% ownership at $7, but that's a good cash flow.
Yeah, minimum salary on Yahoo makes sense. New York Yankees and Minnesota, Alex, CC Sabathia, Martin Perez, 2 lefties on the mound here. Minnesota, last I looked, the temperatures are going to be pretty modest. I think the mid to high 70s, but both teams projected to score a boatload of runs. You've got the Yankees at 5.7. You've got the Twins. It's come down a little bit, but the Twins are around 5.4. Should be a decent amount of runs here. Let's talk about the Yankees first, though. Martin Perez has done a pretty good job of limiting power this season. Only 8 home runs across 101 innings. He's going to face a gauntlet of right-handed hitters, that's no doubt. But does that affect your decision-making at all? And by the way, let me preface this with the reason I ask is looking at the top stack tool earlier today. I'm pulling it up now. It looks like you literally just updated it, which is wonderful. The team with the top stack probability is it still the Yankees? Yeah, Yankees at 11.4. So earlier it was 12% and their ownership was 6, but their ownership is still down quite a bit from the top stack probability. Does that play into your decision making today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the value and ownership kind of level out a team a little bit. So with the Yankees, they're expensive on Yahoo and FanDuel, and I think that will drive the ownership down quite a bit. And that can actually make them a little bit more appealing, in my opinion. On DraftKings, they're a little bit more fairly priced, and the ownership is higher. So I think that one exception Gary Sanchez at $12 on Yahoo is one of the highest owned players of the slate, but the rest of the stack is pretty low owned. So I think that you can make some nice contrarian stacks on FanDuel and Yahoo, and you have the best team going tonight with the highest total on the road, which is a bump. So I think there's a lot to like here.
Yeah, I certainly do too. Adam, again, Perez has been good at limiting power, but this is not your typical matchup either.
Yeah, he's been good at limiting power, but he's not getting a lot of strikeouts, only about a 20% strikeout percentage against right-handed hitters. And you can only do so much to limit power against this lineup. They just have so much of it. They're affordably priced. They, like Alex said, they're the highest top stack percentage, but the ownership doesn't really reflect that, especially on FanDuel, but also on Yahoo and on DraftKings. So I'm getting to the Yankees quite a bit. It's a spot where if they fail, there's at least you can see the reason why they would fail, and it's that Perez has made improvements this year. The cutter's been good. He's done a good job limiting power, but there's not a lot of great hitting conditions on this slate, and you're getting a team that probably is going to be under-owned for how much talent they have with near 6 implied run total.
Right. Yep, I'm in the same spot here. It's just one of these where you have to pretty much grin and bear it whether or not you think it's a perfect matchup. The Yankees are really good, and their ownership should be higher. Plus, on DraftKings, you don't have one of them above 4,900. It's not like they're crazily high priced either. Adam, what are your thoughts on Minnesota against CC Sabathia, who, unlike Perez, has not limited power this season? Righties have hit him for a whole lot of power this year.
Yeah, kind of similar as far as strikeout stuff goes, but not as good at limiting power. I'm not getting to a lot of Minnesota, though, at the moment, and that doesn't make me feel all that good. Nelson Cruz is really affordable. Polanco's affordable. Sano's a decent price tag. Gonzalez is cheap. So I like Minnesota. I'm just not getting to one of them right now. I definitely wouldn't be upset if that changes between now and lock, though.
Do you have any interest in Minnesota, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 5.7 team total. This is one of the higher projected teams of the day. There's some great individual plays. Jorge Polanco on DraftKings and Yahoo is really underpriced, or it's particularly on Yahoo. On FanDuel, Mitch Garver leading off will go under the radar because you don't need the catcher. So I think there's some nice individual plays, and the stack has a lot of potential as a whole.
All right. I guess that's it for this one, boys. I want to make sure we cover everything here because it is two of the highest totals on the slate. But I think that's it. Another thing to cover here, awesemo.com. We'll give you 50% off your first month if you sign up and use the sign-up code or the promo code Deeper Dive, all one word. We'll give you 50% off your first month. That gets you access to the ownership projections, the player projections, the top stack tool, all of them made by our man, Awesemo, Alex Baker himself, used by him every day, developed by him. You have the Fantasy Cruncher add-on. You've got the lineup builder, lineup study with Fantasy Cruncher Pro, the deep dive from myself and Adam every day, and then articles from all of our boys, Josh, Jake, Emac, Ben, and of course, every single sport. If they've got DFS, we've got content for it. Just head over to awesemo.com, check out the homepage, and also check out some of the free content, like our seasonal NFL stuff, which has been really fun to produce. All of it's free, and I think we're working our way there with those projections, man.
Yeah, I just finished them up today or yesterday for the most part, and I think I have some strong takes. I'll give you guys one.
You definitely – I already looked. You definitely have some strong takes.
I think one of my strongest is that Jameis Winston is the second best quarterback you can draft this year. I mean, that kind of surprised me, but then I went back and looked at all my assumptions, and I think there's a lot of merit to that.
I don't think it's crazy because – like I was looking at your yardage, and more importantly, I was looking at the pass attempts per game. Mm-hmm. Their run game, unless Ronald Jones is good, their run game is going to be garbage again. And their defense is terrible, particularly in the secondary. So you're assuming that he's going to have to throw a ton, and that's what scores points, not winning games.
Yeah, exactly. And with no Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think that his job security is way better, and that's huge with a offense as strong as Tampa's.
And we're going to keep moving here, but one that surprised me more than that I saw that and I was like, I get it. It's different. But that's what's cool, though. Everyone else, if you look at projections from everywhere across the industry, like they're all so similar. Like they're all almost to a T. With this, you're not saying draft Jameis Winston there, just that whenever you get him, he's a good value where you're getting him. But the one that stuck out to me was Lamar Jackson.
I mean, yeah, that guy's a fantasy beast just because he gets he's basically gets as much fantasy value from running as a running back, and then he throws sometimes too, so that's pretty nice.
All right, good stuff, man. And we'll let you know when they're up. All the other seasonal content's up. All that's free. But if you want to get 50% off, use the sign-up code Deeper Dive, one word, when you check out. All right, Adam, over to you, friend. Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Sonny Gray, Chase Anderson. Sonny Gray's lit up this Milwaukee team a couple times this season. One of them, it was a watered-down lineup, if I recall correctly.
Both.
What?
I'm pretty sure Yelich sat both games.
Did he?
If I remember right, I've been mad twice this year because I really wanted Sonny Gray at low ownership, and then Yelich sat, and then everyone got on him.
It could be. I mean, he's faced him 3 times. 2 of them was really solid. But anyway, he's been remarkable against lefties this year. Ryan Braun is out of this one. He's a right-hander, and he is at Tyler Skagg's funeral. So you have Yelich, Grandal, Moustakas, Thames. I thought we were going to get not Sogard. What's his name? What's the other lefty in the lineup?
Gamble.
Ben Gamble. Thank you. I thought we'd get him today, but we don't. So we have 4 lefties, and it's a tough matchup for Sonny Gray. The big thing is he's not exactly discounted anywhere. Maybe you could argue on FanDuel, but there's a lot of other discounts as well.
I actually think you can argue that he's discounted on DraftKings relative to the slate.
I don't think relative to the matchup, though.
Well, right, but when you just talk about how good of a pitcher he is, you're getting a 28+% strikeout percentage.
By the way, I 100% should have expected this take from you, so go ahead.
So, yeah, like on its face, 9,700 for Gray is expensive. But when you're talking about a slate where Mike Clevenger is 12,100, Robbie Ray is 11,400, those guys are priced, appropriately for, or more than appropriately for the matchups that they have. Sonny Gray is expensive in a tough matchup, but he has the 4th highest strikeout percentage on the slate behind those 3 pitchers. His xFIP at 3.36. I'm pulling it up now. But his xFIP has been, he's been good this year. 3.36 is better than every pitcher on the slate except for Clevenger and Cole. The 31% strikeout percentage against lefties, like you said. So while Milwaukee does have dangerous lefties, he's still been really good against them, and he's been good against righties too with a 270 expected WOBA. So I'm getting to probably 15 to 20% on DraftKings, and it's just because I think that he gives you a really high ceiling still at that price tag, even though the matchup's difficult.
Look, I don't have an issue with it. I wrote him up in the deep dive today. I did have it a little bit more site-specific than you did, but I can appreciate the argument for sure. Alex, what do you make of Sonny Gray here?
Yeah, I mean, one of the better pitchers of the slate. It's a good matchup as far as strikeouts. But Adam, I gotta throw this back to you, man. What price would he have to be before you wouldn't have him?
10.5, 11K.
Okay.
He'd have to pay the entire $50,000 salary. 50,001 would be too much.
So if Robbie Ray were 10K, I would have basically no Sonny Gray.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think he's in play for sure, especially on Yahoo where he's 40. That's basically like 8K on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's a little bit. He's at 8,600, so that's pretty reasonable. But 9,700, man, that's a tough sell.
Yeah, that's where I had a little bit of trouble with it too. Alex, what do you make of the hitters in this game? And if you want to, for any reason that unbeknownst to me, want to talk about Chase Anderson, I'm all ears.
Well, this is a pretty good batter's park, so I'm a little surprised that the over-under is 9. Neither team is above 5 projected runs. It looks like Cincinnati is priced a little bit better across the industry. So I think you could go there. They have a little bit less ownership than their chance of being the best stack of the night. So if I had to pick one team between the two, I'd pick Cincinnati. Milwaukee, I like the power upside, but their overall projection against Gray isn't that great. So I guess they probably wouldn't be my go-to option.
Okay. What about you? Well, you know what? I shouldn't even ask. Of course, if he had to pick one, it wouldn't be Milwaukee.
Yeah, I would lean toward Gray there. I am getting right now. We have Chase Anderson projected for 5% ownership on DraftKings. I have him about double that in my lineups right now, just because it's not a terrible matchup against the Reds. He's much better against left-handed hitters. He has been really throughout his career. He struggles with right-handed power. The only real right-handed power in the Reds lineup is Suarez and Puig. They went right-handed heavy, but when you're talking about guys like Peraza and Irvin and Iglesias, that doesn't really matter. And the strikeout numbers have been there. It's just that he gives up power. So I am getting to a bit more Chase Anderson in the field if he does come in at 5%.
Okay. Let's talk about Houston and Oakland then, because we've got Garrett Cole on the mound, Adam. Look, I understand and don't even disagree with anything you said earlier when we were discussing Clevenger and Cole. In today's deep dive, which you can check out on Awesemo.com, I had mentioned as far as Cole goes, he's going to get ownership regardless of salary and really regardless of matchup at this point. He's faced the Angels twice over his last two starts. Over his last three starts, he's got 20 strikeouts against the team that he by himself took the Angels from 30th in K rate against righties to 28th. Garrett Cole did that. At least it feels like it, man. It really was incredible. And he has been the most consistently reliable fantasy pitcher this season. I don't think there's a dispute there, especially given, some really rough stretches that Chris Sale has had. So you have that. And then just to kind of compare that to the fact that Oakland, and we'll get into the actual lineup. I don't know if it's released yet, but Oakland has a 21% K rate against righties. They've got a top 5 ISO. Cole's only allowed 3 home runs with runners on base, so that's good. And he's got a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, by the way, that leads all righties in whiffs per swing, which is a nice thing to have in your back pocket. But there's so many ways to contrast this matchup for me is kind of what it is.
Right, I agree with you. It's if you had to lay out the most difficult matchup or the worst matchup for Garrett Cole specifically, it would be a team that doesn't strike out a lot, has a lot of right-handed power. And Oakland, has that.
Right.
Full strikeout percentage against righties this year and going back to last year is lower than against lefties. He's still not bad against them whatsoever.
And he's still Garrett Cole.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But what it comes down to for me is that basically you have Garrett Cole priced where he's always priced and where he should be priced. But then you had a lot of other pitchers' price tags kind of raised for their matchups. So it puts him right back in as a top option for me. Right now on DraftKings, we have him projected for 28% ownership. I got him right around 28%. I think that's pretty much where he should be. For all qualified starters, and I mentioned this earlier, but out of all qualified starters this year, he has a 37.5% strikeout percentage. That's 2.2 percentage points higher than Chris Sale, who's second. His 2.57 xFIP is 25 or a quarter of a run better than Max Scherzer, who's second at 2.82. He's just been the best qualified starter in baseball this year. He's shown, like you said, against the Angels, he can strike anyone out. So it's not an optimal matchup for Garrett Cole. I'd rather he be facing the White Sox or something, but he's still the best pitcher on the slate.
Right. Yeah. And again, that's what I'm saying. You've got to compromise somewhere. You've got to come to terms with which side matters more. And given what he's done this season and last season in any matchup, you're going to have to side with Garrett Cole on this one. But I still think that Mike Clevenger isn't a bad tournament alternative if you're looking to get different. And like you said, I think is important, Adam, if you have a chalky stack too, if you have chalky bats, Clevenger could be a great way to get away from that. So I like both of them today. Alex, I'm assuming you like Garrett Cole as well.
I gotta be a little bit less positive, I guess.
Okay, I'm happy to hear because I'm very much on the fence. I'm in the middle of this one, obviously.
Okay. Well, it's mostly the price that's driving me off. I mean, on Yahoo, he's the easiest to get to, but on DraftKings and FanDuel, you're paying like top dollar. Oakland is a good team. They have above average ability to get on base, above average power. They strike out below average. We're in 2019 where you're not having guys with team totals facing them of 3 or less. The team total of Oakland is 3.8, which is low, but definitely not a guarantee of low run production by any means. And I think that you're not like getting an edge by getting Cole because he's so expensive. He's not like a positive points per dollar play. So the value of the play hinges on finding cheap bats that you can surround him with. And what you're going to end up with is a lot of the same bats that everyone else has with him. So I think I'm not seeing like a tremendous advantage to rostering him.
So who would be your top pivot here? Would it be Clevenger or would it be an equally popular Robbie Ray?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I kind of
all I ask, brother. That's all I ask.
Yeah, thanks for asking me these questions that are so hard. Gosh, but yeah, I think Robbie Ray is probably a little bit better value. Let's see. Actually, no, Cole's a little bit better value. But I found one strategy that I like doing sometimes is spending down on both pitchers, a combination like maybe, let's see. It's weird because all the good values tonight are so cheap. So a guy like Sean Anderson, and you pair him with Sonny Gray or something like that. Actually, I guess there aren't really that many playable pitchers. So I'm kind of digging myself in a hole here that I can't argue my way out of. But bear with me a little bit. I just, despite the fact that it's hard to build a lineup without like an expensive pitcher, I just don't see like a huge advantage in paying like total top dollar.
I think we're on the same page there. Like I have Cole in my early crunch. I have like identical exposure to the field on Cole. So like it's not like I won a ton. I have like 25%.
Nice.
Makes sense. What about Houston bats, Adam?
I like Houston a lot. Homer Bailey obviously has shown some signs of life this year after being questionable if he was going to be a major league pitcher for much longer. But his stuff has been better against lefties. The splitter's been absolutely nasty that he's thrown 30% of the time. So not surprisingly, against lefties, he has a 23% strikeout percentage, 305 expected WOBA, 130 expected ISO. But against righties, he's only struck out about 19%. He has a 373 expected WOBA and a 172 expected ISO. You're talking about an Astros lineup that has plenty of right-handed power in it, really all throughout. You know, you have Springer, Altuve, Bregman at the top. Then you get a couple of lefties who are just really good hitters anyway, and I'm not shying away from them because of Homer Bailey. But then you get, Gurriel, you get a power catcher bat, and Robinson Chirinos from the right side. Houston's one of my highest stone stacks.
Okay, yeah, I like them a lot too. Again, similar to the Yankees, it's just when you have this much talent, you side with the talent in most cases. Alex, what are you doing with hitters in this game, specifically Houston?
I think that they're definitely in play. They're priced up quite a bit on all three sites, which is driving their ownership down, which makes me think that if maybe they are the team you go with when you fade Cole, you get a couple cheap pitchers, you do like a Houston Yankees combo or something like that. That could be a pretty nice strategy tonight. Okay.
And any interest in Oakland one-offs for either of you? Just given Cole's homer problems?
I got one. A guy named Chris Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might have rostered him a bunch over the past couple of weeks and lost a ton of money. But, I mean, what better time to roster him than against Jarrett Cole, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's no better time to bust out of this prolonged 7-month slump. All right. Adam, Baltimore and Arizona, Robbie Ray and Aaron Brooks. Talk to me about Ray here because the matchup, it's really good. There are a few things that stand out. Like number one, the strikeouts. Cisco has a higher K rate. He's not in the lineup, but Martin, Wilkerson, Santander, Nunez. There's at least 5 guys with 25% plus K rates against righties or against lefties in this lineup. and Ray's striking righties out at 30.5%. So it is a good spot. He's a slate high favorite. It's hard not to like him here against the Orioles.
Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about him. The price tag on DraftKings is expensive, but as we've talked about, so is Garrett Cole's, so is Sonny Gray's. The mid-range is non-existent, and the bottom doesn't have high upside guys. It just has guys that maybe can be good point per dollar plays. So you have to roster pitching, and so even at 11-4 on DraftKings, I expect Ray to be my highest owned pitcher. On FanDuel and Yahoo, he's much more affordable. 44 on Yahoo, 9,600 on FanDuel. Love both of those price tags as well. It's like you said, it's just one of the best matchups that you're going to get against the Orioles here. The roof is closed in Arizona, so it's a park downgrade for the Orioles as well. Every hitter on this team, with the exception of Anzer Alberto, has at least a 22% strikeout percentage against left-handed pitching since the start of 2017. It's just a really favorable spot for Ray. He comes with the walk issues, but the Orioles aren't a patient team either, so I don't really have any way to get away from him.
Yeah, do you have any way to get away from it, Alex? Because I had a tough time getting away from Robbie Ray too.
I think that he's a good play, but maybe not a great one.
Okay.
On Yahoo and FanDuel, he's definitely better than on DraftKings, where he's 11.4. So he's 52% owned on Yahoo at 44, which makes sense. And then FanDuel is 9,600, so he's 29%. But I think I'm a little bit lower on him than the industry because I've seen him some strikeout props of 8.5. That's a little bit higher than I have him for. I have him for more like 7.5. The reason why the lineup Baltimore is rolling out tonight strikes out about the league average of 23%. They're not a good offense, below average in getting on base and power, but that's not going to get him strikeouts necessarily. And when you add that up with the fact that Robbie Ray doesn't average quite as many batters faced as some other pitchers that are aces, I ended up with 7.5 strikeouts, which is a little bit lower than you'd like given the price on DraftKings.
Okay. Now, what about hitters? Do you have interest in Arizona against the Orioles or against Aaron Brooks? Sorry.
Yeah, I think they might be. It's a little bit site-specific today, I'm noticing as a theme. But on DraftKings, they're all just fairly priced. So I like that as kind of a sneaky stack because their team ownership is pretty low. On FanDuel, they're priced much lower and their ownership's higher. So I don't see quite as much of an edge, but they're a good play. And on Yahoo, it looks like some of the players are priced up super high, and a couple are really good values, like Adam Jones at 11 and Jared Dyson at 14. So it's kind of a situation where maybe you want one-offs instead of stack.
Okay, Adam, are you in the same boat here?
Yeah, it's tough to get to them on DraftKings because of their pricing. But that does make me like them in tournaments. I'm trying to find ways to get to them because they're facing a pitcher who's not any good in Aaron Brooks. They're facing a weak Baltimore bullpen. There's not a lot of opportunity cost in rostering hitters in mediocre hitting environments on this slate because there's not really any great ones or many great ones. So all that works in their favor. It's hard to get there because when you look at guys individually, you look at Eduardo Escobar for a more expensive price tag than Alex Bregman. You look at someone like Christian Walker, at the same or similar price tag as either of the first basemen on the Yankees. They're not the best plays, but that will drive their ownership down, and it is one of the higher upside spots on the slate.
Okay. Now, do you have anything else from this game you want to talk about, whether it be Orioles bats or anything we missed?
Nope.
Alex, I know sometimes you like to go contrarian in weird spots. Any interest in the Oriole bats?
I could see it, but not a big edge spot.
Okay. San Francisco and Chicago, Alec Mills, Sean Anderson. Adam, here's another just blockbuster pitching matchup. And Anderson is actually projected to get some ownership on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of him right now. I'm really not happy about it, but I can see why it's happening, and it's because I have him projected in the same, I haven't projected as the best of those cheap pitchers. Several of them are comparable, but with our current ownership projections on DraftKings, we have Anderson at 20%, which is the third highest owned, but you have Nova at 17, you have Sampson at 15. It's not like you're getting a big discount on those guys. So what happened in my initial crunch is just that I gave a lot of priority to Anderson, and then I cut away from guys like Nova and Sampson a bit. If our final ownership projection has Anderson being even higher and those other guys coming down, I think that my Anderson exposure will lower. But right now, I'm just taking advantage of a $4,300 pitcher pitching in Oracle Park. It's a terrible matchup. He's a terrible pitcher, but you can only work with what you have.
You want to hear something crazy that happened to me today? Because we have so much time. So I'm at the chiropractor. I get my x-rays back. And I saw in the news like a month ago, they're like, children are developing strange horn-like structures in the back of their heads, presumably from using, iPads and iPhones. I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. So I get the x-rays back. I said, what's that? She looks at me. She goes, Tex neck is real. I said, you're kidding me. She's like, nope, you are growing a horn structure in the back of your neck. I almost fainted. I literally almost passed out. It was the scariest shit I've ever heard in my life, man. So now I'm just trying to keep my head back like this for the next few years and try and correct it. Don't go to the chiropractor. It's going to happen to you too. If I have it, we all have it.
Dude,
oh, God.
Having a horn in your head sounds pretty badass.
My hat's going to be like this next time you see me. It's going to be so shitty. Oh, it was so bad. It really scared me, though. So I'm going to try and change my life around. I figured I would share that story because I can't get it out of my mind. Alex, what do you think about pitching and hitting in this game? We got to hurry it up a little bit.
I can't even think of anything after that. But, I like Sean Anderson on DraftKings.
Look it up. It's real.
And there's some Giants that are really well priced on each site, especially Belt leading off.
Okay. And then Anderson, just where would you have him ranked right now? Like, is this a guy that you feel even remotely comfortable with, or just because he's 43, you might have some?
He's probably my top value of the night.
Okay. But that doesn't say much, is what you're saying.
I mean, it's because of the price tag, yeah.
Right, of course. So, Jay Kelly, Laffy, get a cone like my dog. Yeah, that'll work. They can still look down with the cones, dude. All right, last one, Seattle and Texas. Marco Gonzalez, Adrian Sampson. Alex, I would love to go to Gonzalez here, but the strikeout rate's garbage. He's been terrible against lefties. Like, it is a really good matchup, but I just can't really get there with how underwhelming he's been for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his strikeout percent on the year is 17, which is pretty terrible, and he's not facing a good matchup. It's a team that has good power, good ability to get on base, and they do strike out more than average, but this is not a pitcher of much fantasy value tonight.
Anything for you, Adam?
Nope, it's a good matchup, but the price tag just isn't appealing on Gonzalez. I do really like Joey Gallo as a one-off. He's one of the best hitters in the lineup against left-handed pitching, and Gonzalez actually has been reverse splits as far as strikeout percentage and power goes.
All right, and finally, bats for this one, Adam?
Gallo from Texas, Domingo Santana from Seattle. Sampson's another pitcher that you can go to just because he's basically minimum priced, but I have less of him than Anderson. His biggest issue, though, is right-handed power, and the only real right-handed power threat in this lineup is Domingo Santana. Okay.
Just one more. Jay Kelly says, Laffy, the cone isn't to help you. It's to humiliate you. Oh, that's good. Alex, let me just ask you about Texas real quick, because from a leverage standpoint, according to your top stack tool, they might arguably be the best by the numbers leverage stack. One lowest ownership on the slate last I looked. Sorry, now it's second lowest on DraftKings, and fifth highest top stack probability, basically tied with Arizona. So talk about that, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, I think people are feeling pretty comfortable with Adrian Sampson tonight. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not the leverage stack.
No, you mean Marco Gonzalez.
Okay. So we're not talking about like facing a popular pitcher because that is a reason why.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I used the wrong term. Just low owned stack. 6.5% top stack probability, 1% ownership on Texas.
I like that a lot. I mean, they aren't even priced up that high, so I think they could be a nice way to get an edge on the field. Just have a stack that a lot less people have, then is going to be the chance of being the best stack of the night. And I mean, these are good batters too, so I like it.
All right, top stacks, Adam.
Houston, Yankees.
Alex?
Texas and the Yankees.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks as always for hanging out. Glad to have all you guys with us. Hit us with a thumbs up if you enjoy the show. Like the video. It helps us a lot, and we greatly appreciate it. Subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, and stick around. Actually stick around. Right here. Don't go anywhere. You don't need to go back to the channel homepage. You stay right here. Live Before Lock's coming up next. We're doing it new here. We're changing up the game at awesemo.com, and you're coming along for the ride with us. Good luck tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bingo. Looks like it worked. If it didn't, we'll find out soon enough. What's going on? Live Before Lock. Same link. Trying it out. We've got 1,000 people in here right now, man. Get excited.
Yeah, dude. This is going to be good.
Monster show today.
Yeah, dude. And I'm sure people are looking for weather news, as we will be as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm good with it. I mean, we'll get to it a little bit later because it's not really that important to figure it out now. But as of right now, I assume that I'm just letting it rip until we hear something otherwise.
Yeah, the number in the projections right now are making me a little bit worried. So we will see. But yeah, I'm on the fence as far as whether or not I'm going to play the Nats game. Like if this was another team, I probably wouldn't be as worried, but just with this recency bias with how much they've screwed us a couple times. Yeah, we'll see. Because I was a victim the last time that I was like really heavy on the Nats, and that blew up in my face.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Since everybody is in here, I think it's perfect time for everybody to hit that like button. It's a great thing for us to do now that we got 1,000 people in here. So kudos to everybody for showing up and wanting to see the boss man and Laffy and Adam and getting to put up with me and Jake afterwards. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, use the promo code Live Before Lock if you want to get Awesemo Plus, get 50% off all of our fun features. Every name that you've already heard before, every sport you can imagine, we've got it. We've got access to everything. Fantasy Cruncher, Lineup Builder, Lineup Study, FC Pro. I can name 1,000 things right now. You can get them all. Live Before Lock, promo code 50% off. Jake, what are you doing with Garrett Cole?
Yeah. By the way, we have all the lineups in. So did
the last one just come in?
That is great news. Yeah, no Joey Gallo. Okay, so
Fun.
yeah.
Uh-oh. That scares me.
So
Does that not scare you?
we're gonna get the late scratch. I mean, of course,
Okay.
that's a mortal lock at this point. But as of now, we've got every lineup, and a lot of mine actually do have Cole, which I would think when I re-crunch, I'm gonna get less Garrett Cole than what I have right now.
Okay.
Where I had almost 50%, and I don't really like the discrepancy I had between him and Ray. I had less than half of that with Ray on my last crunch.
You should be happy.
You think so?
I think so.
They project so similarly for us as far as both being not good values, overpriced, but like raw points wise, I don't know where else you really go unless you're comfortable double punting. I mean, one of these guys is going to have a good game, right?
You would think. I mean, I expect it to be Cole. I don't see them as particularly comparable, at least from an upside perspective. And then we've got Clevenger just chilling in the middle of it all, like he doesn't exist. Would you be shocked if he had the highest score of the slate?
No, not at all. He's got a 40% K rate this season.
He's been just mowing people down.
He's got 3 double-digit K performances, like in his 7 starts. I mean, it's just absurd what he's doing. Not that Garrett Cole isn't doing the exact same thing and better, but I think Clevenger's got the best matchup, but he's just not like you said. He's not really getting he doesn't really exist on this slate for a lot of people.
I mean, I prefer Clevenger to Ray, so I'm really excited about the way that ownership is shaking out. If Clevenger really is just under 10% and both of those guys are 20 something plus, I think it's really easy to get to like 15% Clevenger and not be sad about it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I would like a little bit of Clevenger, but right now it's probably not going to happen if this number sticks for Cole and Robbie Ray taking up 70% of my pitching exposure.
Yeah, that makes some sense. You going to get to any of Adam's boy, Sonny Gray?
Kind of hope so. He kind of did talk me into him this morning, and I figured I would get a few shares. 10% I'm at right now. That's not making a major stand at all, but I would be happy with any Sonny Gray I get because he's overpriced like the rest of these top arms, and it's a pretty good strikeout matchup for a guy that's already done it once against the Brewers, and he's just not getting very much ownership. What about you?
I figure I'll have somewhere in like the 5 to 10% range, and that'll be about it.
Yeah,
he's rarely that guy for me. Obviously I like him more than like Erod, but that's really not a hot take.
No, it's not. I got 2 Erod shares out of 150. That's probably going to go to 0 though.
And then we have to deal with the fact that there are 6 pitchers under 5K today. This is a hell of a slate. Ivan Nova, Peter Lambert, Eric Fede, Sean Anderson, Aaron Brooks, Adrian Sampson. What's your cup of tea in that group? Is there one? Is that even tea? Is that tea mixed with something poisonous?
Yeah, I think the latter there.
Oh.
The guy I'm getting to the most, and I was kind of hoping this wouldn't happen, but I'm getting to Sean Anderson the most. He's the most owned out of those guys.
Yeah.
I was hoping I would kind of flip it, where I would be getting the most of the guy who's least owned and so forth. But these guys have kind of all bunched together. Anderson, Nova, Sampson, who's the other couple guys? Fede's way down.
Lambert, Brooks.
Yeah, Lambert as well. But I really only got the big 3, Sean Anderson, Ivan Nova, and Sampson with any sort of regularity.
This is so gross.
Well, yeah, one of them's gonna hit. One of them's gonna get their like 15 or like 20 points if we're really unlucky here. I just kind of hope they're all the same guy because I think they're all bad, and none of them really have great matchups. There's bad things you can say about all their matchups. With Ivan Nova, he's Ivan Nova. He doesn't get strikeouts, so even if he has a good Ivan Nova start, what's your realistic ceiling even against Miami? Anderson doesn't get strikeouts. He's going up against a good team. The good thing he's got going with him or for him is just the park, and that's it. Park and Price. Sampson, he's got a big total against him, probably more strikeout upside than the other guys. At least he's shown that in some starts. He's got a 7 strikeout performance. Recently, he's got a couple within the last 6 weeks or so where he's gotten to 7 and 11 and 6 and 5. But it's not like Seattle doesn't have some power and speed and all that. So it's just there's a lot of bad things about all these guys, but I understand why all of them are getting owned.
I don't want to have the right garbage today. Like I feel like 5 of those 6 guys are going to be garbage, and you have to find the recycling.
Makes a pretty fun slate as far as leverage stacks. Like, would you be shocked if the Cubs were the top stack on the day? Because I wouldn't.
Cubs?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
As an example, like
No.
any of these. White
No.
Sox against Richards. There's a lot of good spots.
Oh, man. It's just one of those days where it's like, okay, I'm going to hitch my wagon to Eric Fede tonight for 4,500. Let's get excited.
No, there's nothing like that going on for me. I would like to get to some more Fede. And actually, the projections just updated a couple minutes ago, and the risk in the Nats game has gone down. So still in double digits, but it's significantly gone down. It was at 25 before.
Do we have any updated ownership?
Let's see here.
Last one was 539, so we've got some time. No rush, obviously.
No, last ownership update was about half an hour ago, 35 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, are you getting to anything in like a spot you didn't expect? Like where are you feeling? How are you feeling on Marco Gonzalez or Chase Anderson, Alec Mills? Any of those guys coming up more than you expected?
Mills, I didn't think I would be almost double the field on Mills. I get that the park is a huge deal there, and that's why we're playing Sean Anderson as well. But I don't think Mills is that good. I don't yet, at least. I don't think the strikeout matchup is that good either. He had a nice start against Cincinnati, and certainly he could do that again. But like I keep saying, the Giants aren't just a team that you just have to smash pitchers against. Right. So I just thought I would get to a lot more, or like more of these 4K guys than a 7K guy that isn't great.
What is your most common pairing? Cole and Sean Anderson?
Let's see. I hope it's
guessing Cole. At least. You know.
Well, I'll look. Let's see what we got here. It looks like, yeah. So Cole, of course, I'm getting a pretty good mixture of Nova, Anderson, and Sampson, but probably the highest pairing is Anderson.
Okay. Yeah, I'm anticipating being in a similar boat. It's either going to be him or Nova, and I'm just not happy.
No, it's just brutal. But like everyone's got to deal with it. So
this is the worst mid-range I think we've seen in a long time. I feel like, and the ownership is bearing it out. Ponce de Leon, Sabathia, Perez, Beeks, Baraki, Bailey. Like there's just a lot of no thank you straight across the board on those guys.
Yeah, the pricing is so weird on DK.
Yeah.
Everyone's priced up, and then you've got these few punt options at the bottom that are all trash, but you're kind of forced to play them because there are good bats tonight as well. So somewhat expensive bats, at least. Especially if we get this Nats game, $5,200 Rendon. You've got some Rockies on the other side that look pretty good.
I have a feeling I'm going to end up with a lot of Cole, and Clevenger's going to go out there and strike out like 15, and I'm just going to hate myself immediately. Because I love Clevenger, but that 12-1 tag is just so difficult to work with on this slate.
It is tough. I definitely agree. But but like everyone's tough. Erod for almost 11K. You can't even go to the mid tier because it doesn't really exist.
Right.
Trevor Richards and Mills, I guess, if you consider that mid tier, but you really want to play Marco Gonzalez. I guess Gallo's out of the lineup, but that's still extra strikeouts possibly.
Yeah,
So.
that one's a weird one because let me pull that up here quick. Oh man, I mean, like it's got to help him. Marco Gonzalez has bigger problems against left-handed pitching, oddly enough, than he does against right-handers. So no Gallo should help him, but he's still Marco Gonzalez. Like he's still 7,900. I feel like I can cobble together enough money to just go up to a starter that I think is good.
Remember when we thought he was going to be like turn the corner and be awesome? Like midway.
That was like August or September, or probably like early August last year. It was like he went on like a little bit of a streak, and then now he's still him.
Yeah, we were like looking at his pitch type stuff on the strategy show. We were like, oh man, we're on this guy before everyone else, and then he was bad.
Turns out, no such luck. Per McCod ownership update, which is true, which means I'm going to start crunching now.
All right.
No reason not to, I guess. I mean, outside of the Nats game, but I'm just going to... That doesn't really affect what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't affect it, then there's no reason you shouldn't.
I mean, it doesn't affect my crunching process. Like, I can remove them if I need to after the fact, but I'm confident in going for that game, which is usually a bad sign. The second that I'm confident about a weather pattern is usually the chance that it's going to get rained out immediately.
I can just see it like in like 40 minutes. We're just like, man, the weather's looking pretty dicey now after we got all these Nats in our lineups.
Yeah, I hope you guys are following Awesemo Weather because that tweet, now that I've jinxed it, that tweet should be coming out in, I don't know, a half hour.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest jinx there is when it comes to weather. Or like confidence if someone's going to play in the NBA.
All right, let me refresh these.
The real problem for that game is that I'm less worried about the Nats and more worried about the Rockies. Because I'd rather play the Rockies than the Nats.
You just love your Rockies, man.
Worked out yesterday, sort of. Worked out in practice. Didn't work out in my bankroll.
Yeah. In theory, it worked out. In practice, it did not.
I mean, I had the right highest scoring team. That's the best I can do, right?
That's a pretty good start. I would like to have that most nights.
Yeah, it turns out the rest of it didn't matter. Thanks, Trey Mancini. That's fine. I'd rather have Alex have another $500,000.
Yeah, keep the site up for another day or two.
Yeah, I'd rather have my job.
Yeah, I think I would too. But yeah, by the way, did you just see what he did? Like, were you watching the strategy show this morning?
I was.
Just insane. Like,
decent weekend. Saturday was better, right?
On Sunday, I think he banked 100K on FanDuel.
Sorry, I'm thinking of just DK, like looking through lineup study.
Yeah,
DK was a pretty big Saturday, I think.
Well, I saw the DK. Well, I saw he was in the tournament. I was in the tournament that he won the $10. I was like, oh, I wonder if he did anything better. It was Sunday night. I was playing some Showdown, and I decided to open up the links and just click through them. And sure enough, he's just at the top of all the high stakes stuff. I'm just like, what is going on here? And
Adam messaged me while it was happening, like, he's in like every place.
Yeah. And it's weird because it's not like he's running one unique and just like slamming a core together.
Right.
It's 3 uniques at least. And that's what happens when you're the best, I guess.
When you're good, you're good. When you're good, you're good. Anything else standing out to you for pitching? I feel like there's not a lot to talk about. You're either playing some of these guys at the immediate top or you're not. I mean, like, what is the alternative? What is the unique roster construction that we're missing today?
There's not. You're just going to need the right combo. It's going to be a lot of people. Like, you're going with one of these probably top 5 arms: Cole, Ray, Gray, Clevenger, and like maybe throw Erod, and then almost everyone's going to have Anderson, Nova, Sampson, Mills, someone like that as their SP2.
Right.
Not going to see a lot of CC Sabathia, Beeks lineups. It just doesn't really make sense on the slate, I don't think.
Now CC's not your guy today?
No, man.
Not taking a stand?
No. Are you kidding? Not against the Jakes. Not a chance.
You've been hating on the Jakes lately.
I haven't played them much lately.
Yeah, see, I feel like you're turning your back.
No. Let's see. We'll see where my exposures end up on them. I would like to get more than what I'm getting of them. Because, by the way, I also got changing, transition there, but I also made a correlation metric today.
Oh, nice.
Correlation. So I'm trying that out tonight. We'll see how that works. So basically just giving more priority or a little bit of a bump to 5-3s and 4-4s, a little bit less of a bump to 5-2 and 4-3, and then a lesser bump to 5-1. And still, my second best lineup right now is a 5-1 or 5 naked.
What team?
The Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if I entered something in the projections wrong, or maybe I didn't give enough priority to hitters in Cruncher. That's probably what it is. So
I mean, they are cheap and they are spread out in positions. I don't hate it.
They're gonna come down.
I'm surprised that you told me it was the top one, but like I don't have a problem with the Cardinals.
No, I don't either. But I just didn't think like at 40 minutes before lock that I would have the most Cardinals exposure of any team on the slate. I would have loved if it was like the Yankees or the Twins or something like that.
You just named my number 1, number 2 teams today.
I think they're going to come up for me. I think they'll both be in the top 5 because I bumped up hitters just a little bit more. But kind of odd.
Oh, actually, you named my number 1 and number 3 teams. My bad. Close. All right. Crunch is running. That's exciting.
It's just so weird. We've had such bad luck with this.
I don't trust it, man. I don't trust it. I don't want to get too excited.
No, I wouldn't. Until we're locked and there's no scratches. We're going to hold our breath here. All right.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about FanDuel pricing. It's certainly a little bit different. We're not scraping the bottom of the barrel as much. Robbie Ray is the chalk at 24% ownership. Cole at 19%. Those are Erod at 10 at 8K, which is pretty interesting. Are you playing FanDuel today?
Yeah, I'm playing FanDuel.
Okay. Anything different for you on FanDuel that you weren't expecting? Are you still heavier on Cole? Is Robbie Ray making more of an appearance here? Sonny Gray, perhaps? Are you getting to Trevor Richards or Trevor Williams? Those are the other 2 guys that are picking up some ownership if you're paying down.
Yeah, so I'm getting all the top arms here. Ray, Cole, Erod, Clevenger, Richards are my top 5. And then after that, everyone else is below 5% right now.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of exactly what I like to do on FanDuel. Just pay up. And like FanDuel is a site that I thought I would get to a ton of St. Louis on. And I am. So we will see. But the Erod exposure, I guess, I know he's more affordable over there. He is, 8K.
Yeah, the 8K price tag on FanDuel is so much better than 10.9 on DraftKings. It's insane.
Completely different world. So, are you playing on FanDuel?
Yes, I am. Okay. I expect Cole to be my most exposed pitcher by quite a bit.
Okay. That's smart. I mean,
I just don't know what to do with him. His projection for me has come down a little bit, and now it'll come down a little bit more as I merge in the site projections. I had him north of 10Ks this morning when I wrote the Spotlight Pitchers article. I have it at 9.3 right now. It's actually, that doesn't shock me all that much given the changes to the lineup. But he's Garrett Cole, man. He just mows people down.
Yeah, he's just been so good. Adam said best strikeout pitcher in the MLB, he thinks. Hard to argue against him.
True story. And that must take a lot for him to say that on a day where Sonny Gray pitches.
I know. quiet down about that one. I didn't want Sonny to hear that.
I'm just happy that he's 9,700. Although I do want Adam to win his side bet.
That's a pretty good bet.
So, I mean, 9,700 is just trolling him.
Yeah. I mean, if it was 99. He would have.
It would have been incredible. You should be able to buy points and stuff. Ooh, that would be an interesting concept.
Well, yeah, when you start your DFS site.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. 627. I hope you have a home run pick ready because I actually do.
Oh, I don't.
And in case you missed it, got one yesterday.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Francisco Lindor for I think the fourth time. He has my double dong as well.
Nice.
So I got Lindor. I assume, and I don't mean this the way that it sounds, but I don't remember you getting one with Vlad.
No. Gurriel homered. He was actually another one I was looking at. Gurriel was the only one I think on the Jays who homered. Emac
had Joey Gallo, and he tagged us. I'm pretty sure Gallo got the golden sombrero or something along those lines. So,
my God.
Yeah, he asked if he gets extra points. That's not how this works.
Oof, I don't think that's how it works.
No, not so much. All right, DraftKings 300 lineups crunched. FanDuel 200 and change. 628. We're a little early, but let's get it in so we can start talking. That's funny. So we can talk about some hitting. So here are the current standings for the Dong contest. Emac sitting at 21, Jake at 17, and I am now tied with Chris Spags at 14. And I will point out, I have made one less pick. I am not in dead last in terms of percentage any longer. Woo!
There you go.
Woo. Dead last, Spags. Where are you at?
But overall, you're one back?
He and I are both tied fully. 14-14. We both have 13 correct picks. We both have a double dong. But I have made one less pick than Chris has made.
Nice.
So, clearly, I'm better than him.
Clearly. I mean, there's no other way it shakes out.
Emac asked if he would lose points with the golden sombrero.
Yeah, dock him however many home runs he is ahead of me.
Do you want to go first? You have the lead.
Yeah. Why don't you give me Nelson Cruz?
Number one in my model today, by the way.
Is he really?
Yeah, he really is. I got really nervous there.
Who do you have?
All right, so Nelson Cruz is in for Jake. Where am I typing that? I'm not even close to it. Are you typing it in?
No, could be Emac.
I was going to say somebody's in that sheet right now on the Nelson Cruz thing. All right, so my pick coming in right now. Let me make sure that I'm right. If I looked at this wrong earlier today, I'm going to be really pissed, and then I'm not going to have any idea what I'm doing. Nope, still happy with it. All right, my pick is in, and I'm going to your wheelhouse today. I would like Eugenio Suarez.
Good pick. Always a good pick.
I love it. I'm so happy. I'm getting another one today. I'm coming now. The game is on. I might have dug too big of a hole.
How many back are you for me?
Too many. 3 right now.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean, I'm not catching Emac.
Probably not. I think I might, though.
You and Emac have both made 77 picks. Chris made 66, and I've made 65. Need this one.
Yeah. This is going to come down to the wire, I think. Let's see who makes a charge. Just like last season. I charged back and beat you all.
Let's see.
Me and Chris are technically tied, but I'm pretty sure he picked Coors Field for the last day or something.
Stanton in Coors.
No, it was like Arenado or Story in Coors. Maybe it wasn't in Coors. I don't know.
Now, so just in case people are curious, I'll give a little bit of background on my Suarez pick. Suarez came in actually 6th in my model. Great park. Chase Anderson has problems with home runs, but right-handed hitters facing Chase Anderson over the past 2 seasons, 242 expected ISO. Meanwhile, a 117 expected ISO against lefties. This dude's got really big problems against right-handers. And spoiler alert, Eugenio Suarez is good.
And a righty. So there you go.
I'm excited. Feeling good. Emacs got Vogelbach. Randone.
In for Vogelbach every day.
Might as well. Chris Randone taking Chris Bryant. And then Spags is here making a pick. Matt Adams.
Oh, he's trolling Emac.
All right, so let's see. Matt Adams is in for Spags. Dan
All right.
I'm surprised Vogelbach doesn't just start filling in as I type it.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to post the link in chat to the tweet that I'm assuming Brett just tweeted out. Tweet back at us with your home run pick. And maybe you'll get some likes and retweets if you're correct, and maybe you go out on a limb. So here's the link to that. You guys will see that by the time you can hear me say this. And it looks like some people are already replying.
Spags, I see you in premium Slack right now. How's it feel to be at the bottom of this leaderboard now? Are you doing okay with that?
Oh, man.
I'm going to be insufferable about this until we switch spots. So I really hope that I don't not get one and he gets one today, or I'm really going to pay for it tomorrow when you guys are on live before lock and I just have to listen to the ear beating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys are both going to be insufferable. I can't imagine what Wednesday's show is going to be like. Are you guys even going to talk about the slate or just home run picks?
Well, depends who. I don't know. One of us will probably be really insufferable about it. Whoever's in front.
Oh, man.
It's the only way to do it, though. It's the only way to do it. All right, let's talk hitting. You mentioned Yankees before. Are they your number one stack today?
I want them to be. I think
they are mine, or at least that's my goal.
That is my goal. I'll know in the next 10 or 15 minutes. They're going to be up there for me. They're going to be top 3. St. Louis, I'm getting to a lot of. And I looked and I was wondering if I was putting my leverage metrics way too high in my ranking sheet, but it's just because they're not really heavily owned. You get a little bit of leverage, so that's going to boost them just a tad. And then they just grade out as good values, and they allow you to fit in the top raw point pitchers, even if they're not good values. So
yeah, they are super cheap. I actually have one other question for you, and it's not really about top stacks. It's about sort of the opposite. And it's on a different site. So FanDuel right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with the Marlins? They are the chalk stack on FanDuel right now by a mile. And I have done things to try to not get them and still can't stop it.
Oh, I was able to not really get them.
Okay.
Although, I don't really have a lot of Marlins. I'm not sure.
Super jelly of that then.
Really
I tried to limit them before and came in over the field, and I was like, uh-oh, this might get hard.
Anytime you can go in on chalk Marlins, you just have to do it.
Garrett Cooper is the most expensive player on FanDuel at $2,800. Harold Ramirez is $2,700. Brian Anderson $2,500. Everyone else is $22 or below. Like they're free today. Do you see their top value on the top stacks tool?
Let's see. Wow, 22.5%.
Yeah, so
that's pretty high. I mean, they're good value. There's no getting around that. But are there going to be two teams that are stackable together with a decent pitcher that's better than them? And they're crazily overowned, according to that same top stack tool.
Yep.
So
I do not disagree there. I am just about done my crunches, which I could not be happier about.
Let's see here. What do you think about on the other side of that Marlins game? What do you think about the White Sox? Where are you at on them?
White Sox?
Yeah.
I am assuming I end up with absolutely 0.
Absolutely 0?
That
Really?
is my guess.
Why would that be?
They are ranked 18th for me right now. I believe they're getting a bit more ownership than my rankings think they should. The only reason that they would get any sort of love would be to boost them up because of Trevor Richards' ownership. But for me, I think the more likely scenario is that I just don't have any. What am I missing? What are you liking for the White Sox?
Well, the leverage. If you are aggregating your projections, you're probably getting a little bit of bump from Alex's. So they just project really well.
Dude, did you see what happened?
No.
Rockies Nats postponed.
What? No way, dude. That's got to be a joke. That's got to be from like a tweet from like 5 years ago. Oh my gosh. It actually is.
Of course it happens as soon as I'm done crunching. I have all of it done. Suck it, everybody. Honestly. Can we not?
Oh my gosh. Why is it
I was about to play it full stop.
Well, at least we know. Whatever. I mean, I guess whatever. They were just going to pull some shenanigans.
Emac said it like 5 seconds ago. Looking forward to Josh realizing he has to recrunch. And Chris is switching to Yasiel Puig, which he has already fixed in the sheet. So kudos to Chris for that. Pool. Really excited. Josh and Jake don't read chat. No, somebody took it over and it's become a cesspool. So maybe we'll have to trim the fat from one specific person.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, YouTube chat. Okay, I think I know.
Yeah. Well, I didn't Slack.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So there goes my current 5th and 6th ranked team. Goodbye, Nats and Rockies.
Yeah, I mean,
I hardly knew ye.
So now we'll get an ownership update. We'll get a projections update. Okay, so I'm just trying to think immediately how that impacts the slate. It's enough time where people have time to react. People are watching shows, whether it's ours or other shows around lock.
I mean, it doesn't change pitching at all, right?
No, in fact, it probably makes Cole and Ray more appealing. They're probably going to get a jump in ownership. I mean, there's just more ownership to go around, so I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous, but I think it's going to be easier to fill them, like to get decent lineups with them, because you don't have 2 teams of bats you have to kind of pay up for.
So I guess the Red Sox probably get a little bit more popular.
Yep.
Maybe.
I think people are just going to go down to these better values.
I'm guessing the Twins probably get a little bit more popular.
Yep. That's annoying.
Brewers, maybe.
Yeah. Brewers versus Sonny. Maybe the Diamondbacks. Now they're not going to be basically unowned.
What the hell game got Rockies and Nats? Delete those lineups. You knew there was going to be something, man.
Oh, yeah. Every time we're in the show together.
Alrighty.
All right. Rankings, projections, all that updated. I'm going to
Not
post
ownership. No ownership update yet.
Yeah, no ownership yet.
God,
All right.
this is just ultra annoying.
Right when we start crunching.
Dude, I just finished crunching.
Yeah, I was getting close actually. So
Here I was, like a noob, thinking I was done, thinking my day was just gonna be easy and I wasn't gonna have to stress. No, I'm going to. Gonna be awful. Gonna come down to the wire. I can feel it already.
You think we're gonna come down to the wire? We got 25 minutes.
It's gonna come down to the wire for me. I need that ownership, man.
Yeah, we'll get the ownership.
I need it now.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Because you have to before.
I prefer it, at least.
Yeah.
I try to wait it out as long as I can.
Okay. Well, for me, it doesn't matter, but now I've just got all these guys. Alex didn't take them out of the projections. It looks like you just put them all at 100% postponement risk. So,
Smart. He's right. It is 100% postponed.
it is 100%.
The true statement.
It was a hell of a 2-minute run for me and Matt Adams, Chris tweeted.
Yeah, it was a hell of a run for me thinking that I was done all of the work that I needed to do.
Yep.
Let's just move these lineups around. At the very least, I can get my my CSV doctored and ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you expecting to happen on your side? What changes do you think you're going to get to now that the slate looks a little bit different?
Just way more Yankees, Twins. Hopefully some Diamondbacks, the anti-optimizer play. And probably not decreasing much ownership on Cole now and Ray. I don't know what else I could do. Maybe get some more like Cubs, teams like that are a little bit overpriced, but they allow you some leverage. So hoping to get some more stacks like that. Cleveland.
Okay.
Wonder where I'm at on them. Always get Lindor, always get Ramirez and Santana especially, but the rest of those guys will probably make their way into some lineups of stack.
Adam Jones revenge game narrative. Your thoughts?
Yeah, lock him up. Got a 100%. Adam Jones.
I couldn't even tell you the logistics behind that.
They try harder. It's a team that released them or whatever. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna have to crunch in 2 minutes. I might just do it, but I know that I'm gonna have to make some minor tweaks just off the top, just because I don't know how to get away from the Marlins.
That's always fun. You should unreg.
Honestly, it's not a comfortable spot to be.
No,
if I'm being honest.
No, that's not fun at all. But you got to do it.
Yeah, you got it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Let's take a look at this.
Did you see what Alex won with yesterday? He had 1 5-man Colorado stack out of his 150.
Yeah, trust me, I saw it. I bounced back and forth between his screen and mine, where I had like 18 of them or something stupid.
Only takes one.
It very much only takes one. I would have happily had one over those 18. I don't even need the 30 Gs. What do we do now? I'm updating all my stuff. I finally pulled that game out. I guess I'm just going to run a crunch.
All right. Yeah, I think
What a day. What a day.
Dude,
Did you think it was going to get postponed? Were you going to play it?
I was playing it. I was going to play it. So good. I mean, it's a good thing because I would have tilted my face off while I was watching The Bachelorette or whatever and seen it postponed. But they were just planning to postpone it. So that's what they did. At least they told people earlier, and probably, now people won't go to the ballpark and be like, why isn't there a game? So whatever. At least they did it early this time. That's all.
I think my power is flickering now. Is it really?
I'm sure we're going to see some tweets from the beat writers, like nice and sunny.
Yeah.
Be a perfect night.
I mean, it is Washington, so chances are they'll be showing us a lot of pictures from the ballpark where it looks like it's never been a nicer day to see baseball.
Oh, for sure.
That's generally how this works. All right, I'm just going to go with it now. So let's get crunchy.
Where does Arizona rank in your best team stacks?
I don't get the sense that I'm going to have much Arizona at all, but I don't want to speak out of school before I actually take a look.
I don't think I'm going to get to a lot of them either. If I do, it's just going to be like they're not going to be my top ranked lineups, I don't think.
Right.
But I would love to get some of them in big tournaments.
Ownership is updated.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, here we go. Post that.
Time to hustle now. It's the Jake and Josh Scramble Show.
Yeah.
Presented by, no one on Live Before Lock, but presented by Awesemo.com.
There you go.
If you guys have never watched the two of us scramble to enter our lineups at the last second, boy, are you in luck.
I think I'm going to be good. I don't think I'm going to be scrambling. So I'm already halfway done with the DK crunch. Just got to rank everything. I think I got my weights correct here. So.
Well, it must be nice to be you.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so what are you seeing in the crunches coming up? Fill me in. What are we seeing here? Anything that you didn't expect to see? Anybody standing out? Any oddly high projections for someone? Now that we have 2 full games out, is it changing the construction at all for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm getting a lot less St. Louis.
Okay.
I'm getting more Minnesota, more Cleveland, and still getting a lot of Texas without Gallo. I don't know if I really want that, but also got to some Houston. So seeing all the top price teams up at the top. I did give the hitters a boost, like I said. So I knew that was going to happen to some extent, but Washington was going to be probably my highest owned stack.
Okay.
So thanks to the Nats, I suppose. I should be thanking them.
I was hoping to get some Rockies and some Nats, but here we are. So as of right now, I think I'm going to be heavier on Reds, Twins, Red Sox. I'm expecting to be under pretty heavily, I hope, on Marlins on FanDuel and DK. Marlins ownership came up a lot on DraftKings. They are tied for 3rd right now. Probably fading Diamondbacks, Cardinals, and Mariners on FanDuel.
See, Marlins' a top 3 stack is something I'm not really interested in. That's pretty brutal. If they're going to be top 3 owned stack.
Yeah, they are not that kind of team.
That's the classic optimizer play. They're just cheap and they allow you to fit in Cole and Ray and a decent SP2.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I tried my damnedest to get away from them and couldn't. So we shall see. Should be fun. Crunches are going. Caleb Levin, what games are canceled? Just the Nats game, my friend. Just the Nats game.
Cross off Colorado and the Washington Nats.
Yeah.
Keston Hura scratched. So if you were playing Brewers and you had a $5,400 Keston Hura, you don't have him any longer. Not sure who's in the lineup for him.
I'm just letting it rip. I'm not trying to start over now.
I mean, I'm not going to have many Brewers, I don't think.
He's an easy fix, though.
Yeah. I was probably going to end up with like...
If you're expensive, I don't mind leaving you in if you're not going to be all that popular.
Mm-hmm.
There is that. I mean, we probably should play a bunch of Keston Harris since they're facing some scrub named Sonny Gray.
Adam's not even watching, man.
No, not at all. He has no clue what's going on in the show.
He's probably scrambling to get his lineups in. He's going to DM you at like 7:06 Eastern. God, I got 82% Ivan Nova.
I cannot believe that the Marlins are the 3rd most owned stack on DraftKings right now.
Optimizer play. Not that you can't play them, but as full stacks, like, oof, that's rough.
Tonight, I mean, clearly they're going to go absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Chalk Marlins putting up 14 runs today is going to be pretty much the most disgusting thing that will happen outside of Adrian Wojnarowski blanking the Red Sox yesterday.
Dude, did you see it? He's nasty.
He's something.
He was like fanning just making him look kind of dumb. Like, I don't know what happened to him, but is he good now?
No. It's just one of those scenarios where we see the Red Sox. They had like a staggering top stack percentage. I look at my phone and it's Woj has a no-hitter through 6. Like, oh, sure he does.
Yeah. It wasn't like he just like, I mean, just the no-hitter was ridiculous.
Brutal.
Taking that into the 7th or whatever.
It's just silly. There's no other way for me to describe it. It's silly.
Yeah.
That's baseball for you, though. That's like that right there is so much of the reason why I advocate playing, and we all advocate for playing multiple lineups and MMEing.
Yeah.
Because 1 or 2 days out of the year, you are just going to have a complete opposite outcome. In a spot where the Red Sox were shocking, like overwhelmingly the top stack, they were simply blanked by a guy that may or may not be in the league in 2 years.
He'll probably just go straight to the Hall of Fame.
He should. He did the DFS Hall of Fame, maybe.
Asher. No one played him. I mean, he was probably under 0.5% owned.
How could you?
No, it would be stupid to play him.
All right. DK moving pretty good, 652. This might actually have FanDuel's just the worst because of structure. I got to cut off my my 4-4s and cut them to 4-3s just to make this thing move a little bit faster.
Yeah, neither of those work really well for me.
It's just it's a lot.
People asking 1v1s in the chat.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Play them both. Play 2 separate lineups.
That's the answer almost every time.
Or take the guy with the better value. Either way.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're asking 1v1, take the guy with the higher projection in Osmos projections.
And if you don't have access, well, I'm pretty sure they're free one day of the week. Is that right?
Yes, they are. And,
And also, so do that, win your money, and then buy a monthly sub at very least.
Exactly. Why not? Buy a week if you want. Check it out. We have everything you could want. Weeks, months, annual subs. That's the best deal. Get it forever. Get the annual sub.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, man. All right. We are getting dangerously close to loading this. Have you loaded up your stuff into your sheet?
Nope. You nervous? I'm not.
A little bit. Not nervous for I'm never nervous for DK. I'm only ever nervous for FanDuel.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because I have to do more copying and pasting for FanDuel, whereas DK I'm just dropping in and walking away. Kudos to everybody in YouTube chat and everybody on the stream right now. We have maintained viewership all the way up to 653. This experiment has been an overwhelming success, so we are very happy to have everybody here. Thank you for joining us on this lovely, lovely Monday.
Yeah, it turns out all we had to do was not make people find another link.
Yeah, who knew? Tom's gonna be proud of this one, man.
Yeah, he's gonna like it.
I'm very happy about it as well. Obviously.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good bump, and Peter's based on the amount of likes. While it's not optimal, the amount of likes we have.
Yeah, people should hit that like button. Look what we're doing here. We're providing a service.
Enjoy the show. Yeah.
Fantastic free service.
All right, so my 600 lineups on DraftKings are done. If people are new to the show or whatever, you don't usually watch live before lock. Well, you should, but me and Josh make more than 150 lineups.
We do.
Cut it down to 150. This is what Osmo does. We don't know exactly how Alex grades Osmo, but
yeah, he's not going to tell us that sort of stuff.
No,
he's
no,
just going to keep printing money.
You've got the raw materials. What you do after that is kind of up to you. But the
He took the raw materials and built an iPhone, and we built a pager.
Built an iPhone. Nice. All right, let's see. When I filter down, God, it's still so much Garrett Cole. I don't know what's going on with me. Okay. I'm going to have to fix something here.
Not getting the right amount of Garrett Cole? Or
I didn't get the right amount of Minnesota.
too low?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so Minnesota.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot more Adrian Sampson and Alec Mills in my crunch than I was expecting. Those aren't fun names to see.
No, that's never a fun one.
10 minutes to go before lock, so if you're someone like me and you're struggling, just know it's not rare.
Okay, that's correct. That's good.
You locked and loaded?
I'm getting there for DK at least. DK is the site I care about today, so
Yeah, I am just about done DK, which is fun. And then hopefully I can get Yahoo done by 7 and get it all in.
yeah, we got this. Okay. I take my ownership down. Oh, Minnesota is pretty decently owned now. That's probably why they didn't jump up for me.
Did we get another ownership update by any chance?
No, just in that one. Okay. they did come way down for me.
Okay.
That makes sense now.
DK is refreshing. Wow, that refreshed really quickly. So DraftKings lineups are in for me. First, raw numbers, 55% Cole, 13 Clevenger, 15 Ray, 23 Richards, 18 Williams, 30 Nova, 26 Anderson, 11 Sampson. Cool. I'm playing the worst pitchers on the slate as much as I possibly can. It's a fantastic day. Lots and lots of Yankees, Reds, Twins, Indians. I'm over the field on the Red Sox, Cubs, Brewers, Rangers. Got some Orioles. That's interesting.
Someone was asking about the Orioles earlier. I don't. They're not a stack that I was really heavily looking at, but I guess I get it. Curtis Granderson dong people are calling for.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, man, I got virtually no Minnesota right now. I don't know what's going on here.
I'm pretty happy with the way my exposures look, outside of being a little bit lighter on the Astros than I would like. I probably have a bit more Orioles than I need. So I'm going to dial that one back one little bit. 658. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
I actually think that I'm going to run with this. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Oh, I got, man, so much St. Louis. I don't know what is the deal with them.
All right, I'm going to call it. DK lineups are ready.
All right.
FanDuel Crunch is just about done. 50 more lineups to go. Jake, I think we're going to get there, and I'm not going to have a panic attack on the stream.
There you go. That's always nice.
We had to get there eventually, you know?
That we did. All right. Let's see here. Let's do...
Are you trying to boost up your Twinkies right now?
Yeah.
I get it, man. I get it. Why would you not want to? The Minnesota Jakes are a fantastic franchise. They would not want to be represented by you. But they certainly love you. I'm positive of it.
No, I don't think they do. Not recently, at least. Missed out on a lot of money.
All right. DK lineups are officially locked and loaded. FanDuel Crunch is at least done with 6 minutes to spare. I will have to go back and get Keston Hara out of 1% of my my DraftKings lineups. I'll take that. That seems like an easy fix.
Nice.
All right, FanDuel refresh is on. Please just be like relatively normal so I don't have to do any real big hand wringing here. Show me the goods, screen. All right, FanDuel lineups. Base. 50% Cole, 11 Clevenger, 12 Erod, 7% Robbie Ray. So I'm pretty aggressively fading Robbie Ray today.
Yeah, you are.
And I got 17% Marlins on FanDuel, all while trying to not do that. I reduced their projections by 25% before I crunched.
That's jeez, man.
That's how cheap they are. I'm dialing them back to essentially nothing to see how much I can actually remove from. I've never lowered a projection like this before, and I can still barely get to the field or under the field. It's bonkers, man. I've never seen anything like this.
All right. I got to call it on DK here.
What's the time at? 7:01.
Yeah. So I can get my FanDuel stuff in too.
I'm going to have to call it in one more minute, I think.
All right. I got enough Yankees, I think. Almost enough Yankees.
We'll do a little review when we're done here.
Okay. Works for me.
Man, this is... I'm going to have to play around with FanDuel a little bit. I honestly would have been better off like unchecking the Marlins today, I think.
Dude, even I got a lot of Marlins.
Did you on FanDuel?
Yeah. No, on DK.
Oh, okay. Did you not, but you didn't get them on FanDuel?
I wasn't before. We'll see where I'm at now once I
Okay.
have DK.
All right, here goes nothing. FanDuel lineups are in. Well, FanDuel lineups are sorted. Now I'm pasting them in. We can go over our total exposures and stuff, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, sounds good.
We would have been good to go had that Rockies. We would have took a ton of questions. It would have been great, but live before lock's a tricky one, guys.
Yeah, things can change on a dime.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys
can turn on a trifle.
How do you guys do this for NBA while also trying to get your lineups in?
It crunches easier.
Oh, I see, because you're not using as many uniques and all that.
And you only really have to worry about the guys that are like locking at the 7 o'clock start. And usually for the most part, if someone's going to be up in the air, like you can make a dummy crunch with that guy already out if you need to get out in front of it. Like if let's say like Kevin Durant is questionable, you can run a crunch and like you can run a non-Kevin Durant crunch and then have yourself prepped as if he's in. So that worst case scenario, you don't have to sweat it.
I should start doing that for hockey. Man, I'm a fish. I should have thought of that.
All lineups in for old Chubster here.
Okay, my FanDuel lineups are getting updated.
Do I have any Hera on FanDuel? Nope, 0. Ooh.
0 Keston Hera?
Yep, on FanDuel. So I just have to swap him out on DK.
Dude, I got like no Marlins on FanDuel. Like they're just way too highly owned. Way too highly owned.
I tried not to. And I still have way too much.
These are some weird exposures I have for DK too. And I know why it is for DK and not for FanDuel, because you're not getting any leverage on FanDuel really with Nova or off of Nova, whereas you are on DK. So even though they're highly owned, you're still like it's canceled out because they're also a high leverage play.
Sure. That makes sense to me.
That's why I didn't get and that other game being canceled obviously hurt, but let's see here.
All right. I have all my exposures here if we want to talk through it.
All right, I got mine too.
Okay. Yeah. Who is your most exposed team? Do you have them like next to each other, or are you going to go like, or do you want to do this FanDuel then DK?
Yeah, we can do FanDuel then DK.
Okay. So on FanDuel, your top exposed stack.
Looks like St. Louis.
Okay. I'm relatively equal to the field. I have 6.5% aggregate. We're projecting 7.4. So I'm with you. The Cincinnati Reds.
Wow. Let's see.
They are my top stack and most over the field. In theory, I probably would have walked that back a little bit if I had like 5 more minutes. But
on FanDuel?
Yeah, both.
Oh, on both?
Yeah, I have a ton on both. I would have liked to get a little bit less so they were slightly behind another team, but as of right now, that's just how it's going to be.
Okay. Yeah, I got some Cincinnati on FanDuel. And then on DK, where are you at? Top stack?
Reds.
Wow. Jeez. We're gonna be way different. Yankees were mine. And then
Yankees are 2 for me on DraftKings.
Yankees St. Louis. So go Cardinals, I suppose.
Just in terms of overall exposure, like adding FanDuel and DK together. Reds, Indians, Yankees, Twins, Rangers.
Okay. I got a bunch of Rangers on DK.
What's your biggest fade?
The Twins.
Okay. And that is not something that you wanted to do either.
So that's what the numbers are telling me, assuming I didn't mess something up in a big way. But yeah, their ownership shot way up with the Colorado Nats game being canceled. So that's what happens.
I was able to largely fade the Marlins on DraftKings. I'm under the field on FanDuel, but I couldn't get them down any further than that on FanDuel. I basically fully faded the Diamondbacks on FanDuel, but my biggest true hitting fade is either the Mariners or the Astros. I have very little Astros. Not that I'm happy about that. The Astros were actually my 6th ranked stack today. It just so happens that they were at like the bottom of a list before a bunch of leverage kicked in. So I ended up getting to a little bit more like Red Sox. And like I thought Astros ownership was kind of where it should be. So I'm a little nervous about that one just because of their raw talent, but we'll see.
I got a few Astros stacks I'm looking at near the bottom. Like my exposures aren't high for any of them, but looks like I got a few Astros 4-mans and 3-mans at least. Man, virtually no Red Sox. The Twins is the one that I'm gonna not having. So there's another. Oh, White Sox. I got a bunch of White Sox on both sides.
I have a quick plug first.
Yeah.
And then we'll get out of here. Let me make sure that I'm pulling this up correctly.
You mean you're not just saying this?
What do you mean?
No, I'm kidding. I was making a joke about doing plugs. Like you try to make it sound conversational, but
no, I'm not. I forgot it existed. So doing a giveaway for the NFL season. On the screen right now, you should be able to see the pinned tweet at the Awesemo_com Twitter handle. You can win a 3-month pass of Awesemo Plus all access membership by retweeting and replying to this tweet that is pinned here. Retweet, reply to it with who you think wins the Super Bowl this year. You have to do those things, and you have to be following this account and the Awesemo NFL account. You have to have your guess in by tonight at 10 p.m. This is your last chance. If you want to try to win 3 months of Awesemo Plus all access subscription at our site, all you have to do, head to our Twitter handle, retweet, and reply with your Super Bowl pick for this year. Jake, who wins the Super Bowl this year?
Let's see. Didn't the Packers fire awful Mike McCarthy?
I don't know.
Sure they did. So there you go. Rodgers is the GOAT. Give me the Packers.
I'll go with the Patriots because they win every year. Go Tom Brady.
Ugh.
Tom Brady's going to be smooching his son, holding up his 7th trophy. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh.
All right. Time to win some money.
Yeah, that's the idea.
All right. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks to everybody for joining us and for sticking around. We done good today. We done real good. Greatly appreciate everybody being here. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Myself and Laffy. I assume it's a big slate. Let's hope that it's not, so he and I can just jibber jabber for most of it. But best of luck, everybody. Jake, anything else?
Good luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching.
All righty. Adios, everybody. We'll talk to you later.